Hello and welcome. My name is Ben Munro and I'm a final year marketing co-op scholar. So today I'm going to take you through a little recap of the registration and application process, and then we're really going to focus on the video snapshot today. So I'll run you through a little bit about what that whole video snapshot is, a few tips on the whole setup process, and then also go a little bit into what you can actually talk about. And how to start thinking about what you're going to say in that. So before I start, there is a live chat in the YouTube viewer there. So if you have any questions throughout the whole presentation, please just pop your questions in there, and at the end I'll make sure to go over all of those questions and answer them. So at any time, if there's anything you're unsure about, please just pop questions in there. And in the last video, we covered quite a bit about co-op, just generally about what the co-op program is, but I'll quickly reiterate a few things. So in a nutshell, co-op is a scholarship where you get paired up with a number of leading businesses and you get the opportunity to do 9 to 18 months of industry experience. And this allows you to apply all of the knowledge that you're learning at university and really sets you apart from other graduates because you've had that real life industry experience. There's a whole bunch of other professional development, leadership, networking and mentoring opportunities that you'll get as well. And $19,600 comes with it as a scholarship per year as well. So that's the co-op program. And you do want to be registering as soon as possible to get your application going. You'll either register as a high school leaver or a gap year student. But one thing to note there is if you are on a gap year, you need to be registering the year before you actually want to start. So if you're a high school leaver this year and you want to take a gap year next year, you'll need to register next year. But if you haven't already, please register ASAP. Do that tonight just to get the ball rolling and get your application started. You'll need to add in your UAC number when you start the application, so please have that handy. And if you registered before UAC was open, make sure you go back and put in your valid UAC number in the application. So this is the home page that you'll get to when you get into the application, and there are a number of steps to the application and they will all show up there, and you'll have the little ticks and crosses indicating what you've done, and then on the sidebar you can navigate through all the different sections with that little summary at the bottom. So a good idea to familiarize yourself with all of these, get used to it. And just track your progress on this page to see how you're going with all the steps. Another thing is the supporting documents section of the application. This is something that you should try and complete as soon as possible because your school will actually need to go in and complete something on their end. So you want to nominate your school careers advisor as soon as possible, and this can sometimes involve a little bit of back and forth between you and the careers advisor. So best thing is to get this started also as soon as possible, because the last thing you want is that you've completed everything on your end and you realize you haven't done the school's assessment page yet, and then you're crazily chasing up your careers advisor to finish that. So this can sometimes take a little bit longer. Best to do this as soon as possible. One more thing to note is if you are a gap year student, instead of the school's assessment page, you will need to put in a gap year explanation. So after this, you will go to the program preferences page, and you can list up to 3 preferences here. But one thing that we want to stress is that you should only put things in here that you're genuinely interested in. You don't have to fill in 3 preferences. You can put in just 1 preference or 2 preferences. So please only put in things that you really are very genuinely interested in, and you do need to tailor some of the questions in the application to those preferences. So if you are putting in multiple preferences, think about how those interact and why you're interested in doing both of those. If they're completely different, you might want to rethink those preferences. There are character limits to each one of the application questions, so we recommend actually doing these in a separate Word doc and then just copying everything over. You'll also be able to mark all your questions as complete to track your progress, and always press save on everything you're doing. But again, we recommend doing all of the writing, the proofing, all of that in a separate doc and then just copying it all over when you're done. You'll also have the application questions homepage, which has a kind of a summary of all the different application questions. And again, you've got all of those ticks and crosses, just letting you know how much of that you've completed and how much you've got left to go. So if you scroll down towards the bottom of this application questions page, you will see the video snapshot. So the platform that this is run on is called vPool, and you will be sent a link through email, and those will be sent out after August 30th, and then you will go onto the vPool platform to complete the video snapshot there. So if you've registered already or you register before August 29th, you'll be sent that link to vPool on August 30th. If you register after that date, links will be sent out once a week. So you will get your link within a week of registering if you do register after August 30th. If you haven't received a link after a week and you've registered after August 30th, please contact the Co-op office, but you should be getting that link within 7 days. So you do get 3 attempts when you log onto the platform, and you need to use your last attempt. So if you do your first attempt and you're happy with it, you can use that one straight away. But if you do go on to do a second attempt, you won't then be able to go back and do your first attempt. But I want to also just touch on what this video snapshot is all about. Really what it is an opportunity for you to expand a little bit more on your application questions and tell us a little bit more about yourself and show us some more of your personality. This is actually something that's done in a lot of professional job applications these days. Sometimes a whole interview will be done on video. For us, it's only a 2-minute snapshot, so pretty short, but really the crux of it is getting that opportunity to show your personality a little bit more and expand a bit more outside of the constraints of those questions. So the stimulus for the video, for the actual content, is about telling us something interesting, unusual, unique, or different about you to expand on your written application. So we don't want something that's completely new from the written application. We want something that is kind of related to one of the points you already touched on, but you can definitely bring in a few different new things. And then before that, you'll also have an introduction. So that's a great opportunity to maybe tell us a fun fact about yourself, some of your hobbies or interests. And the idea of that, again, is just so that you can show a little bit of your personality. A few tech tips for the video snapshot. First of all, make sure your audio is working and your webcam is working. And the quickest way to do this is just film a little video on your laptop before you start. You can actually also do this on mobile. So vPool has an app that you can download and you can do it directly on a mobile device. So use whichever one is more comfortable for you. And also ensure that you have a stable internet connection. So please try to have over 1 megabyte per second internet connection. And if you are struggling to get that at home, try at school or at a local library. But very important to check your device first. Just film a video, make sure the camera is working, make sure the audio is working. So a little bit about the preparation, setting up and the dress for the video interview. First of all, try to find a quiet, private and well-lit space. So again, if this can be maybe a room where you can lock the door at home, or you can ask a teacher if you can have a room at school. A library is also a good option. You can often rent out spaces in libraries for things like this. but try to ensure that there won't be any interruptions. If you can tell the people around you so that they're aware you're doing this, or leave a note on the door, that's always a good way to ensure that'll be interruption free. You also want to try and have a relatively neutral background, free from clutter. So if it is, in your room at home, try not to have anything super distracting behind you that might distract the viewers. Of course, we want to be focusing on you and what you have to say. And lastly, positioning your camera. So try and have that at about eye level, and so that you're in the center of the screen. We don't want you kind of looking down or just off to one side. So try and just arrange that. And then onto the dress for the video snapshot. Professional attire is not required. This is quite a short video. It's really focused on your personality. So you're not required to wear professional attire, but you can wear whatever really makes you feel confident and comfortable. So if you do feel a little bit more comfortable when you're a bit more dressed up, that's fine. What we say is for you to just use your best judgment and don't overthink this. The purpose of this is not, what you can wear. It's about how you can show your personality and make yourself stand out a little bit from the other candidates. Just expand on those application questions. So really, just use your best judgment, and it's not the biggest focus of this, so don't get too caught up on it. Now, the actual content of the video snapshot. Number one tip for this is to try and practice and get as comfortable as you can in front of the camera. We know that sometimes talking about yourself in front of a camera can be a little bit weird. Looking at yourself being filmed can be a bit strange. So the best way to get around this is just to practice your video snapshot a few times and plan out what you're going to say. The more you practice in front of the camera, the more comfortable you're going to get. So that's probably the number one tip. And then moving on to what you should actually say, think about how you can add to what you've already said in your application. Don't completely reiterate what's in your application, but also don't come up with something entirely new. You want to kind of sit in the middle and expand on a little part of your application that brings a bit of you out. And really think about how the thing that you're going to focus on will help you stand out from all the other applicants. So try and make that kind of the focus, I guess, when you're deciding on what part of your application you want to expand on. And lastly, it is only 2 minutes, which is not a super long time. So think quite carefully about what you want to say. And again, this is another big reason not to try and bring in too much new stuff, because you do need to keep it within 2 minutes. And the best tip when thinking of what to actually leave in to include in that 2 minutes is just thinking about what sets you apart from everyone else. What's the thing that's unique about you that, people you would describe you as. So they're kind of some tips about how to get comfortable in front of the camera and think about what kind of content you want to actually cover. Another great way to kind of plan out your content is to look at some of the current Scholar snapshots we have. So if you go onto the UNSWCoopProgram, or you can follow the link that's up on the top right there, you'll see a bunch of our co-op ambassadors have actually uploaded snapshots, and they're a great way to just get an understanding of the format, how they've positioned themselves, set themselves up. And I guess you don't want to be following the structure of these exactly. The whole idea of this is that yours is a little bit unique and it's going to be a bit different from everyone else's. So there's no such thing as perfect here. It doesn't need to be perfect. We just want to see your personality come out. So definitely take a look at some of these, but don't think you need to copy them exactly. The whole idea is that you can be a little bit different from everyone else and a little bit unique. So I want to just cover a few frequently asked questions about co-op, because these are some ones that we very, very often get. So try to clear all of those up for you. And the first one is about dual degrees. So The simple answer to this is no, you can't do co-op with dual degrees. There are very rare circumstances where you can sometimes later in your degree start a dual degree, but you really need to justify why that will help you. And generally we say if you have that co-op degree already with all the industry experience, you don't really need a dual degree when you have all of that industry training. So the short answer is no, you can't do dual degrees with co-op. Can you defer co-op? No. You need to apply again if you are looking to defer or to take a gap year. Like I said before, if you are a gap year student, you will need to be applying in the year before you start. Which goes to the next question. Gap years, yes, they are possible, but again, you will need to apply before you start. And if you are unsure of whether you're going to take a gap year next year, it's best to just start the application, register, and then if you do decide you're not going to take a gap year, at least you have that there, you have that opportunity. So if you are unsure, we definitely recommend getting started with the application. So can you do co-op with other scholarships? Yes, you can. Particularly people often wonder about the Academic Achievement Award and the Scientia scholarships. So you can do those with co-op, but you can't do all three together. So you can do the AAA and the co-op, and you can do Scientia and co-op, but you can't do all three at once. And for all of the other scholarships, you should check the individual criteria for each scholarship, but a majority of them are able to be done in concurrence with the co-op scholarship. But yeah, like I said, just check the criteria of each individual one to be sure. And the last one is bonus points. So bonus points are not counted in the 96 cutoff, which is the academic requirement for co-op. So all co-op students will need to get over that 96 ATAR cutoff to be offered a scholarship. Bonus points do not count into that, and the only exception is Educational Access Scheme. All other bonus points do not count in that 96. So a few more questions, common questions. Can I still submit my application if my supporting documentation, which includes the school's assessment page, has not been completed? You can submit that, but you still need the school to complete the school's assessment page on their end. So you need to have nominated your school and then you can submit, but it's your responsibility to actually chase up your school and make sure they complete that, because it will not be treated as complete until the school has done that. So make sure you do follow up your school and you're 100% sure that they have completed everything on their end. So my activity doesn't appear in the list. Does that mean it's not important? So this is in relation to question 1 of the application, and there's the drop-down menu in part A where all of the most common activities or achievements will be. That doesn't mean it's all of them. We've kind of tried to put all of the ones we're aware of in there, or as many of them as possible. And just because something's on that list does not mean it's not important. If this is something that you think has been very pivotal in forming who you are as a person, definitely you should put that in, and that's what the text field in part B is for, so that you can put that in and tell us about it. So what supporting documentation is considered? Should I send you my resume? The only thing that's considered is the academic results, the actual answers you do to the application questions, and then the school's assessment page. Anything else won't actually be considered. So there's no point uploading any other supporting documentation because that won't be regarded in your application. Things like resumes are not necessary. So please just put the things that are part of the application in there. How will I know if my application has been submitted successfully? So the most obvious thing will be if you try to get in, you won't be able to make any changes if your application has been submitted, and you will also receive an email. So easiest way, just to check your email and you should have a confirmation for the receipt of your application. I just want to cover the timeline quickly. So we're getting towards the end of August now, and as I said, the video links for VPL will be posted at the end of August. I just have one more note I want to add on the video snapshot being sent out. So that will only be sent out once you have all of your preferences in place. So if you've registered, you need to actually put in all of the preferences before the video link will be sent to you. And that will start being sent out on the 30th of August, and if you register after then, they will come within a week of you registering. So when it gets closer to the end date of the application closing, which is September 30th, the video links will start to be sent out every 48 hours, not within 1 week, just to make it a bit easier for you to get that done within the deadline. In September, on the 7th, we're going to have open day, so that's not very far away now, and this is the best place to find out about everything UNSW. So you can come and ask about your specific stream, your specific degree, and then also be a lot of representation from co-op. So you can come talk to current co-op scholars and find out all the information you need basically on open day. And then September 30th is when the actual applications close. By the 11th of November, you will get a notification whether you've received an interview or not. And then on the 26th, there is the interview briefing day. So that's 1 day before the actual interviews on the 27th. And this day is basically you come to the university and you'll find out a whole bunch of tips and tricks, ways to prepare for the interview, and I guess just all the logistics of the interview you'll find out as well. And then on the 27th are the actual interviews themselves. So then by the 10th of December, you will find out if you have been given a conditional offer. Now, this offer is still conditional on you meeting the academic requirement, which is the 96 ATAR cutoff or equivalent if you are outside New South Wales or doing IB. So you won't actually be able to accept that conditional offer until you have received your results and they meet the academic cutoff. Just want to reiterate one more time that on the 7th of September we have open day, and that is the best time to find out everything. So that's 9 to 4, so please come along to that. And one more point I just want to make clear is that the video does need to be done for your application to be completed. So you do need to have finished that before the cutoff date, before September 30th, for your application to be complete. It can be something fun, can be something a little bit unique, something interesting. It doesn't need to be, super formal, super serious. So try and relax, try and enjoy it. And like I said, just bring out a little bit about you. But the application is still the main assessment. And I guess the video is kind of a supplementary part of that. Still, the main focus is the application questions. A few key tips for the application. I'll just go over them super quickly before we go to the questions. Firstly, make a start ASAP if you haven't already, because that September 30th deadline will come up very quickly, especially with you being busy with all your HSC assessments. The school's assessment page should be a big priority, so nominate your careers advisor as soon as possible. And of course, review your application and do a final proofread. Make sure there's no spelling, make sure there's no grammar errors. And this is your opportunity to boast about yourself. If you don't include something in your application, there's really no way we can know about it and can even consider it. So, you might find it weird writing about yourself, but please do include all the achievements that you're proud of, because we want to know about them. We want to know how awesome you are. And then there is also an application tutorial on YouTube. So if you have any other queries or you need a bit of a refresher about how everything works, just hop onto YouTube, or you can follow that link, and that will give you a quick tutorial of how to fill out the application. Now, finally, I just want to take a few questions. So Christian has asked, when ending your video snapshot, would you recommend linking your experiences back to the course you're applying for, or maybe a broader idea that reflects your personality? So I guess, like I mentioned just before, we've intentionally left this with not too much structure, and it's kind of your decision about how you think you can best present yourself and what are the most interesting parts about you. So if you think, that your key asset is something related to the course that you're applying for, and that's been something that you've been super interested for a really long time, by all means mention that in your video snapshot. But if you think, something in your personality is really the key asset that you bring to the table, then you can finish on that. It's really an opportunity for you to make those kind of decisions about what you think is your best selling point. Another idea is to bring up, a key project that you've worked on. This could be something completely outside of school, something related to some volunteering you've done. If you've got a big project and it's something you're really proud of and you think it's helped form you as a person, you can definitely mention that in your snapshot. So it's really up to you, I guess, is the easiest way to answer that question. Jono asks, are we allowed to add any background music? Unfortunately not, Jono. Probably recommend against that. And I think that is pretty much it for questions. So thank you all for joining us, and best of luck with your applications and with your video snapshots. Hope it all goes great. Thank you.